Hello, Mr. Lawrence. Hello, Mr. Lawrence. Can you hear me?
Hi.
How you doing? Good to have you here.
Who else is here? Okay, just the two of us.
Glad to have you. Can you hear me clearly, Lawrence?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. How about me?
Okay, that's good. That's good. Welcome. You are highly welcome. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you very much. How's it been? How's research going though?
Oh my goodness. It's been so good. It's so good.
Really imagine.
Oh yeah. Oma is joining us now.
Here.
So
nice to see
you. Hello. Hi from Kingston, Jamaica. How are we all doing?
Hello.
Hi, guy. It's Toma. Good to have you here.
Nice to be here with you guys. Nice to be here and to share.
Yeah. Nice to meet you, Mr. Omar.
And nice to meet you too, Lawrence.
I know you guys should have known yourself before now, isn't it? At least.
But that's fine. That's fine. We'll get to know each other right now as we go.
Oh yeah, sure. Of
we'll
course.
walk and chew.
Of course. Yeah, you guys are highly welcome. Thank you for joining, Ellie.
Thank you very much.
It's been I've been trying to to put things in order before we go live online. I'm already streaming it, but it's not public yet. So once we are ready, I will make it public. So everyone can be able to join.
Nice.
We're expecting to have somebody else, correct?
Yes, we are expecting Farouk.
Okay.
Yeah, we're expecting Farouk to join us. You guys are welcome.
I must say I am in great, excellent spirit. Are we fans of track and field?
How what?
Are we fans of track and field? Do you watch the Olympics?
Yeah, I watch Olympics, but Nigerian basketball team is out, so.
I saw that.
Yeah, so
can you imagine here in Jamaica, it's pandemonium, it's a frenzy.
Yeah, so I know you guys are good with when it comes to sprint and all that.
Yeah, so it's like our women have really just gave us an early emancipation. We are going into this long holiday weekend. We're celebrating our emancipation on the 1st of August and our independence on the 6th of August. So can you imagine the women 1, 2, 3 this morning going into this weekend of celebration? We are just on top of the mountain.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. I mean, I've not followed most of the games, but like you said, I tried following the basketball game Nigeria played, and when most of your team is out, you just don't get that zeal to follow up on.
Exactly. I get that.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's actually fun. It's actually fun. Yeah,
it's fun. And it's something to take our minds off of the uncertain and chaotic couple of a year and some months that we've been having. Sometimes I completely forget about 2020 because I just want it to be over.
Yeah,
but it just keeps following me.
I get that.
It's
I
crazy.
get that feeling. Yeah, I get that feeling. But
It's
yeah,
crazy. I mean, I can't believe it's almost August already, and it's
yeah,
just
And we are
we're
still
still
in
talking about
this.
COVID.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy. We just wish that we can wish away this month. This, we can wish away the remaining years, and we keep
yeah,
hearing news of new variants and all those stuff. It's
true,
quite
true. So
disturbing.
there's this Delta variant down that it's causing a lot of havoc, spreading faster than the usual variants
Yeah.
they've got.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, have you guys been vaccinated? Guess
Yeah,
so.
I'm fully vaccinated actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good for you. Good
likewise.
for you. I've been trying to get access to vaccination, but then we were faced with constraints with the vaccine. But luckily, we got some vaccines. So I am booked and locked in for tomorrow at 9 o'clock. I should go and get my first shot. So can you imagine? I'm lobbying everybody in my household. Come on, we are going to be vaxxed up.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, good. That's good to hear. That's good to
Nice.
hear. That's good to hear.
That's nice.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
I really need to get.
I think we're expecting someone else
Farouk?
to join us.
Yeah, we're expecting Farouk. Let's just see if he can be here in the next 2-3 minutes. Once it's 11 or 5 p.m. over there, so we can just go on and
we'll jump in. Okay.
Yeah, we'll jump on. Yeah.
I got your your question.
Oh, I think Farouk is here.
Oh, he's here. Okay, great.
I'm trying to see if I can have my.
Hi, Farouk.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Farouk.
Hi, Farouk. Hi, nice to meet you.
I'm good. Same here. Good to meet you as well.
Yeah, you're welcome. Glad to have you with us today. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you so much. You guys are really special today. This event, I've been kind of thinking about it for a while. I reached out to a couple of scholars somewhere. Busy. I think this you guys are rounding up your program, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I see.
Well, I'm
so.
done with her, yeah?
Yeah, I'm finished. So I was 2018, 2019. So I came back home in at the beginning of the craziness. I came back home to Jamaica in 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. I was 2020. So I came back also sometime last year. No, what do you mean sometime? December. It feels like just last month. I came back. I mean, it's been December. That's about 7 months now. But for me, it's
I like how you've canceled 2020. It's the same thing I've done in my mind.
Exactly. Because I mean, you spend most of the day locked down at home, working from home. So you actually can keep tab on time, and then before you know it, it's July already. So actually, it's like last month. Yeah, but it's great. I mean, what can we do? We're just trying to live with the new normal.
Yeah, of course. It's change is constant anyway, so can always adapt.
True. But I can't imagine the lot of work Sunday you'll be doing. Keeping up with your YouTube channel, man.
Yeah,
that's a lot of work.
He's doing this one. He's doing this.
A lot of work,
we love to see it.
It's a new hobby I found. I've been after my master's here coming for PhD. I don't want to get overwhelmed with work, academic work. I just needed something I can chill out with during my weekends. Forget about academic work. My weekend is just for me to do other things I'm passionate to do, that gives me that that freedom to experience other stuff in the guest. So that's why I just started this less than 2 months.
Oh, makes sense, man.
Yeah, so I just said in less than 2 months.
No, it's commendable. I was taking just a glance at the metrics on just posting the event, and I was like, okay, all right. This is good.
That makes sense, you know. So I'm trying to I'm actually watching the YouTube live on a big screen so I can see people's questions when they start.
Okay.
So it's also on a big screen here. I'm in my office actually. So I left home, just came to office to have that freedom, you know. To express myself. So we'll be going live soon. So basically what we'll do is I'll allow you guys to introduce yourself. Right. So from introduction, everyone, I'll go with Lawrence, from Lawrence to Omar, then come to Farouk. Just introduce yourself. Whatever I want us to know about you, just tell us. Right.
Okay.
So
Well, you can hear me clearly though.
Can you hear me?
No, I was just asking, hope you can hear me clearly. Because
very clear. Like okay. It can't be more clear than this.
I should give a caveat because of my network. Sunday, you know better. I'm in Nigeria now, and
I could say the same thing for Jamaica, but I have some backup just in case. I
have let's go live.
All right.
Let me put it on. Let me put it on. So public, publish it. All right, guys, let me just update it on all my pages. Post. Okay.
I didn't even know it was like a background. I thought you were actually in your office, like.
No, it's a background. It's a virtual background.
The background is nice. Yeah. It's not the fact that you took your phone off, I wouldn't have noticed.
All right, so we are live. All right, guys, welcome once again to this special Chevening Scholarship event. I'm glad to be having you guys, exceptional scholars on this platform today. It's a great pleasure for me to host you guys here today. My name is Sunday Okafor, and I'm a current PhD student at the University of Alabama, USA. So one of my hobbies is YouTube channel. I just found it, so I enjoy doing it. So it's a pleasure to have you guys here to share your experience, share insights on the Chevening Scholarship, and provide more information for prospective scholars. So I will allow you guys to introduce yourself, and so that we can start. So I'll start with you, Lawrence. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for having me. My name is, like you said, Lawrence Ada, and I've got a background in civil and environmental engineering. I was a Chevening scholar between 2019 and 2020, and I studied a master's in environmental engineering from Newcastle University. Other than that, I'm back trying to fix up some things for my home country. Working with a startup known as Tiger Nut Oasis. Basically, it's a startup that's into water and sanitation provision to low-income families. I'm also doing some environmental consultancy works with the National Energy Company. And so far, I love research to some extent. So basically, my background is in civil and environmental engineering, and I'm glad to be here with you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was a wonderful introduction. Thank you. Omar, please, can we meet you?
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, or good night from wherever in the world that you are viewing from. I send you lots of Jamaican greetings. My name is Omar Wright. I am a Chevening scholar. The year 2018, 2019, I studied at the University of Bradford, so off the beaten path, all the way up in North. I studied international development management. I would like to say I am a young development professional. I've been working now in development sector for several years. Been fortunate enough to have worked on several development projects within my country, ranging from state reform to digital transformation. And now currently happy to say as of June, I've been promoted to project manager with the Jamaica National Foundation, working at a water project, which seeks to build resilience, adaptation, and to enforce mitigation to the effects of climate change. So I am happy to be here for the knowledge sharing. I think one of the things that we would have said at our Chevening application and interview is how that we would go out and to represent Chevening and to also share the knowledge and experience that we would have garnered in our time in the UK. So I'm happy that Sunday, who I think has the coolest name ever, took the initiative to put something like this together so that prospective Cheveners, persons who are thinking to apply for Chevening could have a platform where they can come ask questions and get some guidance. So I'm happy. Feel free to ask me any question. I'm an open book and I will do my best to guide you as best as possible. So thank you so much. And I'm sure we're going to be having some very useful discussions.
Thank you so much, Omar. That was an exceptional introduction. Thank you so much. Farouk, please, can we know you? Thank you.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity and Sunday. And good day, everyone. My name is Farouk Yusuf. I'm a current Chevening scholar doing a master's program in conflict, state building and development at the University of Birmingham. Yeah.
That was very that was short and precise. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. All right, guys, welcome once again to this special Chevening Scholarship event. It's my pleasure to have these wonderful scholars here today. And so this is how we're going to do it. For those of you watching us live online, as you are listening, maybe you have your questions already, you can start, putting it up in the chat box. We'll go through it along the line. And basically, the scholars will be sharing their experience. And once you are picking up something, you have any question, clarification, you can feel free to put it up on the chat box. One of them, I'll bring it up on along the line and they will attend to it. So, yeah. So you're welcome once again to this event. So I would like to start by, basically, everyone has his own scholarship experience. Probably you might have applied to other scholarship before Chevening, or maybe Chevening is your first scholarship you applied for. So I would like you to kind of give us a brief experience of your scholarship journey before you got Chevening. So I will start with Farouk.
Okay. I think the experience was quite like an introspective one. And it was like my first time applying for Chevening. It was the first international scholarship I ever applied for. And I was lucky or fortunate to, clinch it in my first attempt. So it was an introspective journey. It's like the process, will give you like an opportunity to reflect deep to your past and identify some of the little things you've done that matters, and also to help you create like a clear route for your career. So for me, the whole process took about, was it 2 months? I started very early preparing for my essay. I think that was the major reason why I was able to, hit it in my first trial. So I spent a lot of time researching. I did a lot of research about the application to learn from, the failures and success of others before putting in my application. Yeah, I think that should be that.
That's awesome. That's as in, when people say I got it as my first attempt, I'll be like, what? Yeah, so yeah, exactly. Just like when I applied for Commonwealth scholarship too, that was my first international. I did apply to Chevening before Commonwealth, but yeah, so I got Commonwealth. So yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for that. That was short and precise. Yes, Mr. Lawrence, can you give us some brief summary of your scholarship experience for Chevening?
Right. Thank you very much, Sunday. I would like to start by saying I wasn't as lucky as Farouk because I had to apply the second time to get into the scholarship program. But basically, I mean, it just started after when I was done with my bachelor's degree. And then I was in the field practicing as a civil engineer. And at some point, I felt like there was need for me to just have like, get some additional knowledge to like gain more expertise and competence in what I was doing. And that was when I sat down and felt like I needed to get more knowledge and further studies. So I applied to, I narrowed my search down to schools I wanted to go to and the courses I wanted to do. And then from there, I somehow stumbled, someone sent me the Chevening scholarship link. I had overlooked it, and then until it was few days to the deadline, and he was like, have you sent in application for this? So it was one weekend, I'll be honest with you, I was in traffic, because you know how it is in Lagos, because I was in Lagos then. Yeah, and so I was in traffic, they quickly came up with some ideas for the essay, and then sent in my application within just 2 days or so. Well, I wasn't surprised when I got the love letter, to simply nicely put, which was the first rejection email. Yeah. I really wasn't surprised, yeah, because I really didn't put in much diligence and them doing a lot of research as we have expected. And that's why, but from the very first day I got that rejection letter, I knew because I didn't do what I needed to do. I started preparing, and I was fortunate during the second attempt. Chevening is actually competitive. I did apply to a few other scholarships. Some I started, the Commonwealth, I started the application, but I didn't finish it. I'll be honest with you. I didn't finish that. And then, I went through the scholarship application for Chevening, and a few others which are a bit, how would I say, national scholarships like the petroleum, the PTDF, it's called Petroleum Technology Development Fund also. Yeah, I got to the interview stage of all of that, but yeah, finally went with Chevening, and here we are. So I applied the second time to get it, and I was fortunate to have gotten it at my second attempt. So that's awesome. My scholarship.
Awesome. Because I was thinking, as me you got it your first attempt, I will have to petition Chevening that. But that was good. That was good actually. Yeah. So Ma, please can you share your experience with us?
Sure. So my application experience with Chevening. First of all, let me say, it was never on my radar to apply for any international scholarship, but in the time frame that I applied. So I would have just been out of undergrad for 3 years. And fortunately for me, out of undergrad, I went directly to work into an international organization in the Inter-American Development Bank. And so I started out as an intern, then a project assistant, then research consultant, and so on and so forth. And who I now call my career champion, sometimes you have mentors for your career and whatever, but I call her my champion. She said to me, well, you have started out as an intern and you've been moving up the rank. The next place to go is a specialist. But to get to this specialist level, you need to do further studies. And I was like, I'm not an academic. I do it to get by, but no, I don't need to do further studies. I was content and whatever. And then I was thinking, Chevening, all of the persons in my country who have ever gotten Chevening scholarship, they are uber brilliant. They're just like, oh my God, dazed by their brilliance. So I was like, not for me. But she pressed and pressed. That's my career mentor. She pressed and pressed. And so in August of 2017, I seriously started to consider applying for international scholarships. So this was my first time actually diligently seeking them out and applying. I started seeking out, and then I just got completely overwhelmed. So anybody who is online, sometimes it feels very overwhelming to go through all of the requirements. I was really overwhelmed. Then I went back to her and said, I don't think I'll do it. She said, you have got to do it. Then she sent me the links. So I think Lauren said something about sending somebody sending the links. She sent me the link to a World Bank scholarship, Chevening, and a international scholarship in South Korea. I was like, I'm Jamaican. South Korea, maybe not. And so it was whittled down to the World Bank and Chevening. Then I had to sit down and meticulously go through the requirements. And in my experience, I was like, no, I don't think I have any chance of getting this scholarship. But I want to jump on what Farouk said. In applying for Chevening, you have got to do some serious introspection and stop and think about your academic journey as well as your professional journey, though limited it might be. And in doing that, I started to realize, oh, wait, I've done some things. Okay, all right, this I can apply for this. I have a chance. So it was doing that introspection that I started to say, okay, I probably have a chance. Then I started to network with other, like we're doing now, with other scholars. I remember reaching out to the network within Jamaica as well as within the global network, and to ask about what it is that I would need to write in the essays. And yeah, from there, I think my confidence started to grow in my abilities to land the scholarship after reaching out and because I guess I was having a little bit of imposter syndrome, like, oh no, this is not for me. I'm not as brilliant. But yeah, so that was my experience. It was a little bit of introspection, as Farouk said, and then realizing, well, I've really done good work that I can be proud of. So that was good. And then other persons around me within the Chevening Global Network saying, oh yeah, you can have a shot of it. So that was my application experience.
Awesome. So you got Chevening at your first attempt.
As my first attempt, yes.
Good. That's great. That's good to hear. Okay, yeah. Without much taking much time, I want to hear from your own perspective. You know, what do you think makes a strong Chevening scholarship application? Like, what are the key elements? What do you need to put into your application to make it as strong as possible? Right, Lawrence, can you go first?
All right. Thank you very much. First of all, I would say, just like with Chevening and every other scholarship, first thing I would say one should do is to identify the scholarship objectives. I mean, personally, I like to categorize like a whole lot of scholarships into about 3 zones. I feel like there are some that are purely academic merit and academic excellence, and there are others who are into a bit of academic and some kind of, say, extracurricular activities and all of that. And then there are others like Chevening that are looking forward to a bit of your academic performance, but also your work experience in terms of how you've made impact on your society or how you look forward to solving a global or local issue. So once you understand the objectives of the scholarship, then you can now look at who you are and who you want to be and align these two together and see how you can bring what you've done in the past and how gaining the scholarship will make you be a better person to solve either a local problem or even a global problem, as the case may be. So that's the first thing I would say. And then you have to spend quite time depending on how you have already, I mean, you just have to do due diligence in studying what the scholarship is all about. And then after that, I would say, because it's a scholarship application process that involves a bit of writing, so you will have to get the right strategy to approach your applications, because I have seen from reviews of ACIDs in the past, people who've got amazing profiles that are what I would call core Chevening materials, but the way they present their applications in terms of their writing skills and all of that, and the overall application makes it look as if these guys are not really what Chevening is looking for. So you work on a bit of brainstorming to get the right strategy, and then to help your application, network with people like mine who have done it already, and people who are also looking at doing it, and then take your time in writing and editing. For someone like me and a host of others, English is not our mother tongue. So you've got to spend time like getting your storylines well. And that will involve a lot of making draft essays and reviewing them and sending them to people to help you to edit and review them. Yeah. So that's basically, and then of course, basic eligibility requirement. You've got to have at least a bachelor's degree or a diploma that you can use to get a master's admission in the UK, and then 2 years work experience. Of course, later on at interview stage, you'll be required to present an English speaking certificate exam. That is something you can actually do later at the stage of your application. But basically, you spend a whole great lot of time studying and finding what the objectives of the scholarship is. And then you align your goals, your past and your future goals to that objectives, and then present it in a sound and convincing manner to the application board. So basically, that's an overview of what I would say for now. I believe that my friends and colleagues here will say better on other strategies to adopt. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was a great insight. Thank you, Lawrence. Let me put it this way, Omar. Basically, when it comes to you, what will you say specifically stand out in your application? Like, what are the areas of your strength that you were able to leverage in your applications?
For me, from my perspective, I think what makes the application stand out is if you are able to show preparation, exude your passion through how you've written your essays and how you've answered. And if you also, in whatever strategy you use, to demonstrate a clear purpose for having the experience and having not only the academic, but the cultural experience. How is it that you're going to use all of that to the benefit of your country? Because one of the things that I think people sometimes forget is that the Chevening Scholarship is a diplomatic tool. So you are, I think Lawrence said it, you have to understand the objectives of the scholarship fund. So it's not purely academic. There is also a very practical side to it as well. So in my, speaking personally for me now, one of the things that I did was to ensure that I was telling a story. So there are, I think, 3 or 4, I can't remember, 4 questions that they ask, 4? Yeah, I believe it's 4. 4 core questions that they ask you to answer in your application. One having to do with leadership and influence, another having to do with networking, something around what will you do when you get back, and I can't remember the 4th one. So what my strategy was to bring to all of the questions those 3 things. Show my preparation. What I mean about that, show what I have been doing. So during the course of my academic journey prior to Chevening, during the course of my work journey, what have I been doing to prepare myself to influence, to have a good network, to contribute to nation building. So, and then you have to show purpose. Why is it important that you be named a Chevening Scholar? How is that going to help with your overall purpose? And for me, my overall purpose was I wanted to improve the lives of Jamaican, and not only Jamaicans, but persons in the Caribbean region, and then go large internationally. So that was a frame right throughout my answers. And then you also, I think one of the things that make a strong application is where you can show your passion. And this is where you call upon the experiences that you've had, like your volunteerism. Are there anything in your local area that you've contributed towards? Are there anything on the regional level? Are there anything on the national level that you've contributed towards? And I think those things augurs well for a strong application. So I would say preparation, to be able to show preparation, and in that it entails knowing what the objectives of the scholarship are, so that you can craft your responses to the essay questions, hitting all of those objectives, being able to exude your passion for whatever area, because Chevening it's whatever area, but what is going to allow you to shine through, because there are a lot of other applications. So getting that passion out there, be it through a story that you tell succinctly, of course, not too long-winded, but use a strategy where you tell the story, but at the same time, you are still meeting the objectives, and purpose. What is your future state? What will you do in the future, having gone to the UK, receive the academic enrichment, receive the cultural exchange? What will you do with all of that you've received? So that would be the three things that I would say are important elements for a strong scholarship application.
Thank you very much, Omar. That was quite insightful. From reviewing people's application or interacting with people over the couple of years now, I've come to realize that one mistake they do is they focus more on themselves than the society, because as Omar said, it's more of a diplomatic tool, right? They're just using you as a catalyst to achieve their aim. So how are you going to, to help them to achieve that? That's always the focus, because I find kind of an intersection between Chevening and Commonwealth when you look at the essays in some aspects. So Farouk, I will ask you in this way, that if when it comes to your academic achievement, your work experience, your networking skills, and other qualities that you have, when you want to communicate it in your application, how do you better put it in such a way that you are achieving the objectives of the scholarship itself? How do you put it in together? So you're not, so it doesn't look like you are focusing on yourself.
Yeah.
Like you are focusing on the aim of the scholarship.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's a very important point that you've made. And in terms of, talking about the society and not just focusing on yourself, I think there's a tendency for lots of persons to just, you kind of portray the whole thing as if you want it for your own benefit. So now, in terms of the question you've asked, I think what matters is synergy. There has to be that connection from your work experience, your leadership, your networking, down to your career plan. You don't want to have this loose link where your leadership is talking about something entirely different. Your career plan is talking about something different, and then you're studying the UK. In terms of the work experience, I would say it doesn't really matter if you have been in, like, I'm talking from my own experience now. It doesn't really matter if you've been in like a formal kind of setting. It could be volunteering, it could be in any field, and whatever you've done in the past doesn't necessarily have to be in line with what you want to do in the future. So let's say you're working as an engineer, for instance, and then you want to move to another field. Let's say international development. Let's just use international development as an example. And your past experience, your work experience is in engineering. I think what Chevening just wants is for you to have worked for a minimum of 2,800 hours. That's 2 years work experience. So, and they want to see that motivation. So if you're going to be switching to a different field, you want to make it very clear why you are switching. And that brings me to the point that, to something that I think Omar has been echoing, which is showing and not telling. So I think lots of people try to tell in the application, and that's sort of undermines the strength of the application. You tend to tell rather than show. So you want to avoid trying to, list things and say, okay, yes, I'm in this role, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I've done that. Rather, you want to show how you've done it. You want to show why you did the things you do and why you intend to do what you have in mind to do in the future. So just to go back to the central theme of the whole outstanding application, I would want to touch on presentation. Presentation is key. You have barely 500 words for each essay. You want to make sure you focus, on maximizing that the word limit. So for some persons, they usually start by defining leadership. They start by defining networking. I think it may work for you. It has worked for some persons, but then in terms of outstanding, it would be best for you to look at it this way, that lots of people tend to define. So why should you define? Why not just, start with something original? You could start by reflecting on your background, growing up in a particular community where you've witnessed one or two experience and you're motivated by that. You could just go straight to the point and say in leadership, you could say in the past 5 years, all the engagements that you've been doing is tied to leadership, and then you just start. So that could be one way for you to show and not tell. Another would be to focus on, how and why. So the why would reflect the situation aspect. I think another point I would love to highlight here is that you learn from strategy that has been employed in the past and other, successful essays, which is the STAR approach and the SMART approach. Yes, I think that's something that will make your application also very outstanding. So the situation captures the why aspect, and it shouldn't be too detailed, right? It shouldn't be too detailed. You don't want to spend too much time talking about the problem, and then the task, what what was needed to be done, and then your action. The action, I think, captures a lot. You want to spend more time talking about the things you did, right? And then the results. So you want that to be like you want that to show in all. I think the two part of the essay, which is the leadership and the networking, and most importantly, you want to paint yourself as a bridge, trying to connect what the UK is doing in your country to what you intend to do in the future. So there should be that connection all through. So if you're talking about, let's say from your first essay, you've talked about your experience, your leadership experience in the past, and then your networking should be related to some extent with your leadership, not necessarily repeating what you have in your leadership essay. And then you're studying the UK section, you want to look at courses or modules that are related and in line with what the UK has done or what the UK is currently doing in your country, and tie that up and sell it in your career, in your career plan. I think there will be an opportunity for us maybe to talk about this essay later on. So I would just leave it at that. I think those are some of the factors you need to take into consideration if you must, or if you want to have and present an outstanding application. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That was insightful. When you talk about the why, the how, that's a very key point there, because most time people just focus more on the how and the why. Like the problem, they talk about the problem in my country. There's poverty, there is poor healthcare. They talk more. Of course, they know these problems are there. That's why they want you to be a catalyst, to solve it, right? So you stating the obvious is more of you wasting the number of words you are given. So just state it briefly and go ahead and provide solutions, innovative solutions that you think that can help in curbing such situation. I think that's a very, very important one. So we'll come back to the essays aspect later on and elaborate a bit on it. And I know that for Chevening scholarship, you have to pick 3 courses: first choice, second choice, third choice, right? So I want you to shed more light on what influences, how do you make choice of first choice, second choice, and third choice? And also, are you the one that will decide on which one you'll be given, or is it Chevening that will pick one for you at the end of the day? So I want you to share. Omar, I would like you to go first.
Okay, so on the choices of the universities that you would study at, so it's entirely up to you. So you have the option of selecting 3 universities, if I'm remembering. Farouk, you should be, this should be very fresh in your mind. I think it's 3 that you can select. So those 3 universities are up to you. From wherever in the UK you want to study whatever faculty, whatever program, provided that it's, so Chevening has a database that you can go in. So again, preparation, you can literally go into the Chevening go on the Chevening website, and there's a database of universities, and they give you all of the details. So it's up to you. My strategy was, I knew where I wanted to what path I wanted to go down. So having worked in the development world, I knew I wanted to do something in the development realm. So I started to narrow down to universities that had programs that offered programs in development studies, development management, in international development, whatever. If the university offered those, then good. So that is still a long list. Then I narrowed it down by the cities or regions that I would want to study in. A boy was just fresh off of purchasing a house, so London was completely out of it. It would be too expensive on that stipend. Again, preparation and research. I knew I would not be able to afford London. So though I had put LSE as one of the options and got through to LSE, I knew that would not be in it. So the 3 offer the 3 options. The top 2 was the cities that I could afford, that offered a program that was internationally renowned, because that is important to me, as well as faculty that were not only academicians, but they were actually practitioners, so they were working in the field. And so in my research, I found out that the University of Bradford was only one of 4 peace centers in the world that offers degrees in peace studies and international development. And it is one of the oldest. So that was one of the things that drive my choice for the University of Bradford, as well as again, I'm coming back to preparation. Whilst I was here, one of the things that I was able to do through the High Commission in Jamaica was to identify staff within the High Commission who would have studied at the University of Bradford or any of the universities that I was interested in, and set up coffee meetings with them so that I could go, because a part of how one of my strategies for responding in the essays, sorry to come back to the essays, but I want to drop nuggets along as I go, so that persons can take notes. One of the strategies that I used was when the question asks, why did you select that university? Why did you select that course? I needed to have things that I could say. So I needed to know who in the faculty was well renowned, what was that faculty known for, and things like that. So those coffee lunches or networking lunches serve that purpose. So that helped me narrow down my choice of university. So again, it's entirely up to you. You just need to know what criteria you are going to use to narrow down the city that you want to. And please, guys, you have to take into consideration that you will be a year away. The expenses. So can your stipend cover the things that you want to do? Because this is an opportunity for you to not only do academic work, but to immerse in the culture. And if you want to travel and all those wonderful things, how are you going to balance it? And if you have obligations like I did back in Jamaica on a stipend, how is it that you, so all of those went into my decision on which of the university that I selected.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was very elaborate. Lawrence, let me just ask you the final part of the question. After making choices for your 3 schools and going through the screening selection process by Chevening, how did they narrow down to the course that you're going to do? Is it your first choice that they are going to give you, or they have selection criteria, or just shed more light on how that works? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Based on what I know, the final decision on what school you go to depends on the first, if you have selected the right schools that meet the criteria Chevening has put forward, that is, you've chosen 3 different or similar courses in different universities, and they have all met the requirements stated out in the Chevening application process. They go by ranking. I'll give you an instance, the case I had for myself, which is I applied. My first choice was Imperial College London, and then second choice was Newcastle University, and then I had a third choice in the University of South Wales. Yeah, and so, but I had gotten a conditional offer for Imperial College London ICL, and then they requested for an updated or recent version of my transcript of my bachelor's degree. That was the condition. And the time it took me to get that from my school here in Nigeria, and then just try and forward it back to them, I had gotten to the interview stage, and Chevening needed to make a decision on what school to go and sponsor me. And so they looked at my admissions that I had. My first choice, I had an admission, but it was a conditional offer. And the criteria states that you have to have unconditional offers in all of these your choices. So I think what they did was just to go for my second choice, which was Newcastle University, which I had an unconditional offer. And that was how I ended up, a very great choice though, in Newcastle University. So to put it in a nutshell, that the final choice of the university you go to will depend on your ranking in terms of your first choice, second choice, and third choice, as long as they meet all the conditions stated by Chevening scholarship. That's what I could say for now.
Okay, thank you. Very quickly, just for before we go to the next point, when Lawrence was talking about criteria set by Chevening scholarship, how do you know the criteria, before you pick a course so that you meet that requirement?
Okay, I think the obvious point is that you research, that you go to the Chevening website and then you check the requirement. I think some universities are partnered universities with Chevening, and there are other programs. I think MBA in particular, you have to maybe cover up for some part of the tuition, so it's not going to be like a fully funded. They won't take care of your, what's it called? You're going to get a stipend, constant stipend, but then the tuition, you might have to pay part of it. And it has to be a 12-month program, 12 months long program, and shouldn't be more than that. So basically, if you go to the website and then you check through, you should be fine with the universities. And it's like Lawrence put it, it's Chevening, it's very flexible. So you have that liberty to choose any university you want to choose. It just depends on what you want to pursue in the future. And I think that should be the best, that should really inform your decision. So it shouldn't be limited to some extent to the ranking of the universities, but it should be about what really motivates you. For me, it wasn't really about the ranking. It was basically the modules and how it aligns with my career plan. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
If I may,
yes.
Quickly, because I think it's important that the viewers know that with Chevening, you are doing a parallel application. So you're applying for the universities at the same time that you are applying for the Chevening scholarship. So it's important that you that is very clear in your mind. So though you are applying for the Chevening scholarship, if you are not successful at the universities that you want to go, you might end up in a problem. So always ensure that you can matriculate, you meet all of the requirements for the universities that you are interested in going, so that whenever time Chevening does their vetting and they ask you for, I think Lawrence said it, they ask you for an unconditional acceptance, you can provide it to them.
All right, thank you for shedding light on that. So I want us to spend some time elaborating on the essays. So I think we'll go straight to that. I know there are, I think, is it 4 essays that you need to write? So I will start with the leadership and networking. I don't know if those two are together or it's the separate essays. They're separate, right? Okay,
yeah.
Okay, so let's start with the leadership essay. So I'll go with you, Farouk. When it comes to the leadership essay, what do you think need to be, put together in that essay? What do you need to talk about, especially for someone that has not been involved in maybe a lot of leadership position, maybe you have voluntary experience and all that, but you've not hold any big leadership position before. So generally, what do you think needs to be in that essay? Just tell us.
Okay. That's a very interesting question. I think I should be perhaps the right person to start with. Considering the fact that the thing is that I actually just finished my undergraduate. I was doing a youth service before I got Chevening scholarship, so I didn't really have that kind of leadership experience that some people would. Some people have garnered. So if you go online and you read some essays, some leadership essays, you see some figures that might intimidate you. For instance, impacting over 100,000 lives in a community where cholera is prevalent or something like that. And then you'd be like, oh, I've not done so much, right? Yeah. So I think your leadership, what Chevening wants to see in your leadership essay is your ability to lead. So your potential, what you're looking for is your potential, not necessarily what you have done or how far you've gone. So I think that is something that misleads some persons. If you some essays you like I think it was Omar that mentioned it, right? I think it was Lawrence, that you find people with the right qualities and all of that, but then in terms of presentation, it's really poor, right? So if you're occupying this role, you just feel, okay, yeah, because I'm the CEO of this organization, or I'm the team lead for this organization, I think that should suffice, that should, fit with the leadership stuff. And then you end up just saying what you do as per your duties, rather than showing how you have led and how that has created some kind of impact. So if you don't have too much experience, I think the highest figure in my essay was just 200. So was as humble as that, 200. So if you don't have much that kind of figures, it will be best. Even if you do, it will be best you try to show how you demonstrate the potential. You show that you have potential to lead. Okay, so one way for you to do that would be to always refer to how you're going to use that in your future. So you could say, I would leverage these skills. You understand? So that could be one way to put it. I will leverage these skills to advance 1 to 3 solutions, or 1 to 3 to tackle 1 to 3 issues in my country, right? And influence is part of it. So you want to tie your leadership with influence. You want to show how you have that potential again to influence, and that would be referring to examples. No matter how little it is, you want to sell it to some extent, how you have influenced people in the past. You want to use key leadership words like spearhead. You don't want to be too detailed. You want to use key leadership words. You piloted this project, you recruited, you delegated tasks. So that could be a way of showing how you did XYZ, and it would be best you capture that in the action aspect and make sure it's detailed. I think that's where you're going to get lots of scores, because when they see these things, they say, okay, yeah, this person meets this quality, he has the leadership quality, he was able to coordinate a number of persons towards achieving this particular cause. Yeah, so in terms of presenting your leadership essay, I think it's very important that you use those keywords, and even in your networking, persuasive communication skills, you negotiated, you did this, you did that. And like I initially said, you don't want to go too deep. Currency matters too in your leadership essay. So you want to start with something, you don't want to go as far back as when you were the health prefect or head boy in your secondary school, right? So you want to start with something very recent. And if you are in the, let's say, professional setting already, and it's been a while since you left school, and maybe most of your leadership experience were in school, perhaps you led this team that you did this outstanding stuff, then it would be okay for you to refer to that kind of, to refer back to your leadership experience back in school. But if it doesn't really add up, you don't want to mention all those parts of your leadership experience where you or some people even make reference to how they are leading at home. Okay, I don't think the Chevening wants to see that. What they just want to see is how they just want to see the potential and the willingness that you want to do it. You have the passion. Omar kept on emphasizing passion. So you have the passion to do to solve a particular problem, and you're going to solve it. And it's all there's no way you can do that without saying it. You just have to say it. And don't be shy to tell it that this is what you're going to do. If you know it's something, if it's sounding ambitious, make sure it appears realistic though. If it's sounding ambitious, try to make it realistic and then sell it. Don't just say it or tell it. Yeah, I think I'll leave it at that.
That was
very
so
important.
That was so scientifically put, Yeah, I think I didn't know you applied during your service year. I never knew that, but I'm glad that I allow you to go first. But what you just put out there is, it's like someone that has been in leadership for years, especially those keywords that we are using, the persuasive word and all communications, those are very important, because in diplomacy, those are what is needed, right? To be able to negotiate, to persuade people and all that. Thank you very much, Farouk. Lawrence, I'll go with you. I know you are in the engineering field just as I am, and I know you have quite some, years of experience in your pocket. So I will ask, how do you tie your leadership experience and your work experience? How do you tie your work experience to your leadership experience? I know as if you having work experience, you must have led in some areas, and also bringing in your voluntary leadership experience together into that one essay. How do you tie them together?
All right, thank you very much. Like Farouk just said, the basic thing is to show your ability or potential to lead or influence people to cause a positive change. And so if you're looking at the experiences you've had, and then you have to link them to leadership experiences as well. One common mistake I have seen from people who have tried applying is to assume that because they've had a leadership position, say you're a project lead or team lead, automatically means that you are a leader or have the potentials of being a leader. And that's where the leadership essay comes into play, because then you have to show how you're able to manage people, how you're able to lead people, to sell a particular vision to them, and then so that you bring in all of their resources to achieve a common goal. So for someone like me who is in the engineering field, say you've had, I'll be honest with you, I mean, after I started practicing as a civil engineer, we're basically down in the streets, building road constructions and doing bridges and houses, some random practices, I would say, until I worked on a particular project that had to do with giving a community, it was the water treatment plant that had to do with giving a business entity and a community access to water. And when we finished that, the kind of joy I saw in the lives and faces of the people in the community was really what was, I would call, a game changer for me. I mean, I've never felt fulfilled or satisfied all through these years before then, like how I felt that moment. And so when I started applying for Chevening scholarship, and I looked at the key points there, that you need to be someone who has potential to lead people, to sell a vision to people, and about causing a positive change in the society. Definitely that experience I had in that, my professional experience, regarding giving people access to clean water, a particular project I worked on. And it was clear to me because now you can now sell what the vision was, the role you played in selling the vision to your team, on to all stakeholders involved, and then how you were able to manage them to bring in their best to achieving that. And that's what, for me, leadership is all about. You may probably have had an engineering background with a few experiences, pocket of experiences in engineering. But I have seen applications we had to agree together that the best examples to sell are not really those from your professional background. You've had people who are outside their professional fields, say in some voluntary settings, have done amazing things. And that is why if you look at, out there on the internet, especially from Nigeria, you have amazing Chevening alumni now who are doing things in the field outside what they might have studied in their, say, bachelor's degree and all of that. So in a nutshell, what I would say is to look at the experiences you've had in your professional settings and how you were able to have developed a vision as a leader, sell it to a particular team, and how you've been able to influence that team to achieve a positive goal. Of course, naming challenges you face, excuse me, and what you did to overcome all of that. So you must find a way to align this together so that, and remember you have limited words, and that's why, Umar keep hitting on the preparation, because you have limit just about 500 words. At the end of the day, you discover that you have so much to say, and then you're battling with the right strategy on how to make it. Because, whoever is going to review your application has thousands. Each year you hear about 50,000 applicants sending in their application, with countries like Nigeria having about 6,000 and topping the chart with the highest applicants so far. So you have to make sure that, and the leadership essay, it's actually the first essay you're required to make a submission for. So you have to make sure it's something that the leader, the reviewer, or whoever is reviewing your application, feels interested and quite a bit interested in finishing the rest of your application. So I'll stop at that. I hope I've tried answering your question.
Yes, that was so detailed. I think Farouk and Lawrence have done justice to that, to be honest. And I will go to networking with Omar, because I think Omar has a good experience when it comes to networking, with the coffee hour and all that. And, he has a couple of, skills in networking. So Omar, I will ask, when it comes to the networking essay, what actually are they looking for? What do they want to see in your essay? What do they want to see? Can you shed light on that? Thank you.
All right, so it's quite similar to leadership and influencing, because influencing takes its value out of what your network looks like, and just anybody who you're speaking to. I think sometimes networking seems so far off, and so networking skills. How are you engaging with people, and out of your engagement with people, to what end? So when you're engaging with people, is it for a meaningful purpose? When we're sitting down to have a coffee lunch or a coffee break or whatever, what is the purpose of this? What are we trying to solve? Something? Are we speaking about issues affecting a community? Are we speaking about issues affecting maybe a school? Is it that we are going to come together as a sixth form association? Do we have sixth form in Nigeria? I think so. Yes. Are we coming together as a sixth form association to do a fundraising for a community, or for a school, or for a street, for a church? So that is you demonstrating. So I think how Chevening word, and help me, Farouk, the leadership, the networking question is your ability to engage with the Chevening community and influence and lead others to their chosen profession. So for me, one of the things that I did for that section on strong networking skills was to speak to any initiative that I was a part of that spoke to a collective of people. So whether that was a prefix, do we have prefect body? in Nigeria, yes? Do we have prefects or any high school leadership? Yeah. So yeah, so any collective body to say, for example, there was a need for a student who did not have lunch money to purchase lunch, and we came together as a collective to do a fund for that person. That is you building a network to support something with a purpose. So there is a challenge, you use your networking skills to engage with your fellow students to do something. If it's the workplace, is it that there is a challenge that your colleagues are having, but you know of another organization that did something to overcome that challenge within their organization? Have you done anything to reach out to them? Sunday, this is a networking opportunity. Did you see the need to support bringing information to other persons so that they can be better equipped to make decisions concerning their life or concerning applying for a scholarship? That is networking skills. So it's just your engagement, and not engagement for engagement's sake, just to have conversation, but engagement with a purpose to solve a problem, to meet an objective. So if you are able to demonstrate all of those things in your essay, you are somebody that Chevening would be looking for.
Thank you very much, Omar. That's very well put. Farouk, basically, I would like you to, from your own, the reason why I keep coming back to you is because you have a very unique experience, given the fact that, because there is this myth that you can, except if you have worked in the industry after school for 2 years and all that, it's difficult for you to get the scholarship, and those type of myth. And you are someone that got it even while you are still doing your national youth service. You applied for it and you got it at first attempt. So you have already your own experience have broken that myth for everyone that still have it. So I want you to shed light on, when it comes to networking, what is your own perspective about it?
Okay, I'd like to start by, just reading the prompts for the networking essay. I'll just read it out very quickly. So Chevening is looking for individuals with strong professional relationship building skills who will engage with the Chevening community and influence and lead others in their chosen profession. Please explain how you build, and maintain relationships in a professional capacity using clear examples of how you currently do this, and outline how you hope to use the skills in the future. So if we deconstruct this question, we see looking for people with strong professional relationship building skills. That's one. It has to be professional relationship, and you have to engage with the Chevening community. So you have to show that too in your networking, how you're going to engage with the Chevening community, and then how you're going to influence and lead others in your chosen profession. And a very good way to show how you're going to do that is to use an example of your past networking, experience. And one way I was able to do that was, obviously, I had to use experience from my uni at the university. And I think Omar highlighted on that you could just, connect with students. So there was this project that I wanted to do then, back, it was about, creating a stove, a smokeless stove, firewood, a stove that doesn't use firewood, sorry. I mean, it uses firewood, but it produces less smoke, because I realized lots of women who use the normal three-stone traditional firewood smoke, cooking smoke inhalation to some extent was rated third killer of women and children at that time. So yeah, I decided to come up with this project. But then, having a background in geography, I knew I had to, network with engineering students, of course, because we're going to be building something like a stove. We need knowledge from chemical engineering and stuff like that. So I had to just reach out to these guys and say, okay, this is the idea I have. Once I could solve this problem for women who use traditional cooking stove, and we did that. We applied for this competition. One day we pitched the idea. I think the vice president was there, and a couple of persons, and we didn't get the funding to do the project. And I made that very clear in my networking essay, that this is the number of persons who would have reached if we had gotten that money. You understand? So it wasn't like a project that was implemented, but I was able to just show that, okay, I identified this problem, and I had a passion to solve the problem. But because I knew there was that knowledge gap, I had to go out and connect with students. So this might resonate with one of the experience you might have if you're a student and you think you've not really done like this outstanding kind of networking, like connect with some top leaders or renowned experts in a particular field. It could just be normal building relationship with students. And then I think at some point we had to extend that networking to some professors at the university so we could refine our ideas. So I also mentioned that in my essay, not just with students, how to raise that up to forge relationship with professors, not just in my university, but from other universities as well. So yeah, that could be one way to sell your networking experience. You could just leverage example from your university. It could be outside. It could be anybody. The main thing here is just for you to show how you do it professionally, right? So you want to, instead of, and it's all about packaging again, I would say. So rather than say, so I contacted so person, you could say you consult. It could be the better way to put it. So I consulted 1 to 3 persons, right? So it sounds more professional rather than saying I called, because it sometimes appears in some people's essay, just like, okay, I called the management of this, or I spoke with this. So you want to use professional words like I consulted, or I, set up a meeting with this person, and then we did this, we did that to achieve. So there should be a core purpose why that networking was, initiated in the first place. There should be a core purpose, and it should be about the society. They want to see how you're passionate about your community, your society, how you want to give back to the society. And very important, don't forget the aspect of engaging with Chevening community. So by the time you're done, it will be useful. It might be useful to highlight in the maybe ending of your networking essay to say, okay, with these, skills, you intend to do this with, network, advance your, networking skills while you're in the UK, or even after and while you're back in your country, right? Yeah. So that was how I think I was able to do that. I don't know. I just hope my example to some extent resonates with a number of persons of viewers who are here.
That was so straight and very detailed. I think a lot of people will get insight from that. I want us to take a couple of questions before we go to the next essay. What is the next essay? Can someone tell me what essay is left in the application?
Your study in the UK. Okay. It's all pleasure. Study in the UK and career plan.
Okay. So we'll put that together. Let's just attend to a few questions we have here. So someone is asking about that he has done an internship for 6 months and 3 months, and then 1 year NYSC, so National Youth Service for Nigerians. So he's talking about how does he combine that as his work experience? Can he use his internship, his NYSC, and as part of the work experience? So yeah, Farouk, can you attend to that?
Okay, yeah. In terms of internship, if it's a part of your program, your undergraduate program, then it's not eligible, right? So it doesn't have to be. It must not be attached to. It mustn't be like a core, requisite for your degree program. So it should be something outside school, for instance. And yeah, that would count. If you don't have NYSC experience, it doesn't. Like I highlighted, I was just doing my NYSC then, so I didn't even put any part of my. I think there was no. Yeah, so what I just did was just to look. That's why he started by saying it was like an introspective journey. I had to list all the possible leadership, experience I've had in the past, and then I kind of screened them and ranked them, which is the most outstanding, which can I take from this? Okay, so it could be any experience at all. It could be volunteering experience, it could be, and it can be unpaid as well. So it might be volunteering as, let's say academic secretary, for instance, or like a fellowship in any volunteering. Could be for Enactus if you're part of a body like Enactus in your university, right? Yeah, you could just mention some of that, and then so long it's something you do and it's regulated, it's within the 2000, it's monitored, let me put it that way. Like you can actually capture it, that it meets that 2,800 hours, then I think it's sufficient enough for your work experience. Yeah.
So what you're saying basically is while you're an undergrad, maybe you work with some like call it organization within the school, maybe the club, maybe some clubs. Maybe you're a club president, volunteering for. Can you count that as work experience?
Sure, you can count that as work experience,
okay.
Provided that it doesn't, because there is also a cap, okay, like number of hours you should do it a day. So it shouldn't exceed that. I've forgotten, I think it should be, I think 38 hours per week, thereabout. It shouldn't exceed that, amount. It could be any kind of work experience. Could be, you might be a sales rep, for instance. It could count. It also counts, so long it doesn't exceed that number of, they just want to see that, okay, you've worked for like 2 years, you've worked for at least 2 years. Okay. I don't think I had any sort of like professional work experience that I fixed in my application.
Okay. Yeah. Someone is asking, did they ask for your proof of work experience at any stage in the application process?
No, not at all. They won't ask for that, yeah.
Okay.
Can I add something to what?
Yes, Lawrence, please.
Right, because this is really interesting. Considering the fact that, like Farouk just said, I mean, you just have to put forward experiences you've had, even though you had them during your first degree or undergraduate studies, as far as they were not like work experiences you had as a requirement to attaining your first degree. So I'll give you a typical example of an idea of some experiences in my leadership essay. First one was an experience I had while we were on the long ASU strike while studying in the Federal University. We had of course, when you're studying in Nigeria in the Federal University, you have ASU strike. So we had like this 6 months ASU strike. And then, I went and I had some experience. I never knew it was going to come handy later in the future when sending in an application such as a Chevening scholarship. So as long as it's not an experience you had while part of your studies in your undergraduate, I think it's eligible. And then, like you said, it could be voluntary, unpaid, and from your service year as well. So please, I've seen a lot of questions also from people concerning that. So they should feel free to add experiences they've had from their undergraduate studies. Nobody asks for a proof, but that doesn't mean you should say what you can't defend. Thank you very much.
That's very important, because basically when you start fabricating work experience, it can be, these guys are well experienced in screening applications, so they will find a way to detect it. So yeah. Thank you very much for that. Someone is asking, can a deferred offer, probably you got an offer last year, you didn't use it again, and you deferred it, can you use it for the new application first? Omar, can you answer that? Okay.
I believe so, with some caveats that you can defer. So say you got it last year and you defer to this year. Yeah, I think you are allowed, but I think there are some caveats. So you would have to speak to the Chevening Secretariat and be guided by them.
Okay. Thank you for that. Yeah. Is there any other person that wants to say something on that? Okay. All right. So let's quickly, I don't want us to spend more than 20 minutes more on this call. Let's quickly talk on the objectives and your career plans. So I'll go with you, Lawrence. What is this essay all about?
Do you mean the study in the UK or the career?
The study in the UK, and the study in the UK, can go with that.
Okay, I could go with the two though. So studying in the UK, let me see if I could, the prompt, it says something like, outline why you have selected your chosen 3 university courses. This is a prompt from my year. I know they tend to tweak it a bit, but it's basically asking the same thing. It says, outline why you have selected your chosen 3 university courses and explain how this relates to your previous academic or professional experience and your plans for the future. Please do not duplicate the information you have entered on the work experience and education section of this form. And you've got just 500 words. So it's to show them, I'll tell you quickly my approach to this. I mean, I already mentioned the universities I applied to. And first thing, that's why I knew maybe somehow nature assisted me in going to the best choice among my choices. Because when I ended up with the decision to further my studies, it was basically because I wanted to learn more on how to provide affordable and sustainable access to water and improved sanitation. And I went on Google before knowing I needed a master's degree, because I so much believe that you could actually get everything you want from the internet. So I went and I Googled on access to affordable and sustainable water and sanitation. And the first thing I saw was a project then done by Newcastle University in developing countries. They had it going on in Ethiopia and a few African countries like Kenya. So I studied and tried to learn the technology. At that point, I started sending emails to some of the professors, not knowing I was going to study in their department later on. And it built my understanding on the universities that were into what I wanted to study. And so the broader view of what or how the strategy I adopted is that first thing I did was to outline what I wanted to study, the universities that were offering that. And then you look at things like Umar said earlier. I mean, if you're going to cities, people look at geographical locations. Newcastle is an exciting city and a university with it. It has 2 universities at the heart of the city center. So I was looking at somewhere I could network and learn, have the typical exciting UK experience with an affordable cost of living. Because, you know, like Umar said it, you've got Chevening stipends and you are basically on a low budget all through your study years. And so you just have to take that into consideration. So the first thing I did was my first choice was, after researching about the strength of the faculty and the researches they were into, to look at a university I would consider a top tier ranking university, and something that I knew that was quite competitive. And but I knew I had met all of their requirements. I sent in an application. That was why I applied for Imperial College London. And then I went for a university that I felt like was just right about my qualifications and my, what I would say, my profile. And considering the fact that I had already established communications with the faculty academicians who were also industrial practitioners, which I felt was quite important, I sent an application to Newcastle University. It's one of the top ranking, but bottom top ranking, as we say. If you look at some of these UK rankings, don't know if they matter though. And then I went for a university that somehow I felt was, I mean, worst case scenario, I was going to get an unconditional offer, which is University of South Wales. So I kind of somehow divided my shall I say, my chances in 3 universities, a top tier ranking university, one that was a bit lower than that, and then one that I felt was, okay, at all worst case scenario, I was going to get admission. In selling how you felt this, you need to show that you have researched these universities, what really, while they are like the best fit for you, because you have certain universities, and that's why it's not good to go on a global or general ranking. Certain universities are like specialists in certain areas of studies. I mean, when you talk about international development, you definitely can't do much without talking about University of Success. You talk about agriculture, you've got universities in the north, like Nottingham, and the likes of Imperial College are also well known for engineering courses. So, I mean, you have to show that you have researched them and you are certain that these are the best universities that you should be in, and then they will be able to give you the knowledge and the network to achieve your career goals. And that is why the entire application for me should be a bit of a wholesome, what I would call a wholesome application. I should be coherent in the sense that one thing I tell most of the applicants I come across is that each of your essays, I mean, I try to write each of my essays in such a way that if a reviewer just reads one of it, just one of the essays, he knows he has my profile, somehow a bit of my career goals, and even if he doesn't have the time to read the rest of the essays, that single essay should be able to give me chances of moving at least to the next interview stage. And so you should actually take each of them with great deal of diligence and care. And the career essay, I don't have much time to talk about that, but personally, I feel that is what I would call the killer switch. The career essay talks about what you intend to do. And for the first two essays, there's a strategy popularly known as the STAR approach, where you state the situations, the tasks, the actions, and then the results of your leadership and networking examples. But for the career essay, the approach we adopt is writing what is called the acronym for SMART goals. So you make sure your goals are specific and they are straight to the point. Yeah, they are measurable and then they are achievable. In the sense, well, I believe most of the people listening are already familiar with this, but you have to make sure that your goals, you present them in such a way that they are realistic. Over time, you also have to align them with what the UK is doing in your country to some extent. I mean, in Nigeria, for example, I don't know about now, but I believe it's largely the same. To know where the UK has what I'll call the area of interest or concern in your country, you could actually, then we used to check the former Department for International Development, but I'd like to know it's Foreign and Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO. So in Nigeria, there are about 6 or 7 areas of concern that has to do about security, 4, right? Security, prosperity, agriculture, power, good governance, of course. And okay, I've mentioned security. And then the general term for prosperity, which has to do with agriculture, health, and education. So each of these goals should tie into what the UK is doing in your country and how you're able to assist them. For example, I knew I was on the right track when I checked the budget for the UK government that year, and about 60% of what they planned to spend was on what I was going to study. So I felt like this was jackpot for me. I mean, it made a lot of sense to me, because if they are spending a lot of that money in the country, it means they are highly interested in it. And so it was easy for me to align my goals, my future goals, to what they were going to do in my country. So I'll stop that so that my friends and colleagues here will say more on that. Hopefully that I've tried answering your question. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, Lawrence. I think you've done justice to that, to be honest. You've done justice to that. I don't know if Omar, Farouk have any 1 or 2 points to add to that. Please feel free to do that. But if you don't, can you go ahead?
Lawrence has done justice to that. So I guess the only thing is I'm just emphasizing what he said. That point. Anybody who takes any of your essays, because it's a committee of people that's going to read it, should be able to get a decent picture of who you are just by reading, whether it's the leadership or networking or your career plans. And that point needs to be plastered over this Zoom call on YouTube, that you should really strive to make sure that it is coherent. I think it was Farouk that said that it should be integrated, and it's so important that it doesn't read like, oh, this is just a smidgen here and a bit here and a bit there. It should really be coherent, and so anybody who's reading it knows exactly a flavor of who you are and what you are bringing.
Thank you very much. Farouk, you have anything to add?
Yeah, just to highlight 1 or 2 things. I think for the study in the UK, what they want to see is that you demonstrate research. So you don't want to come and, start quoting statistics, because I think the resistance is people to just put statistics and say, okay, lots of over thousands of, it's not a bad idea to maybe open your study in the UK with that, but you want to demonstrate research in the sense that you're aware of what the university has to offer you. So you don't be distracted by the ranking, as Lawrence highlighted. Don't be distracted by the ranking and say, okay, the university is like this. For me, what motivated my choice was the modules. So I was particularly keen on what the university can give me in terms of handling conflicts and addressing those factors that leads to state failure and stuff like that. And then University of Birmingham was like a perfect option for me because it captured the three aspects I was looking for. The program, it's titled Conflict, State Building, and Development. So there was like, it had a lot in it. And obviously I had to make it my first choice. The second one was also related. So you want to take models, courses that are very, related and not that distant from each other. And in terms of your career plan, it's useful. Like for me, what I did was to, instead of, again, from essays that I've reviewed in the past, for last year, I noticed the same issue again, quoting statistics and say, let's say for instance, over 90% of people are suffering from this stuff. In your career plan, they don't really want to say that. Like Lauren said, it's like a selling point for you. So it may be helpful to start with a hook. You could say, okay, you aspire to become a policy advocate, or you aspire to become a diplomat. So whoever sees that as the starting would be like, wow, so I'm kind of reading or talking or speaking with a potential diplomat. Let's see how it's going to achieve that. And then you start by showing, okay, 2 years, this is it. I've started, small, I'm going there. And then 5 years, I'm already getting there. And then, 5 to 10 years time, I'm there already. Okay, so you can start with that book by just going straight to the point and saying, okay, this is what I intend to be, or this is what I want to pursue, right? If that is your ultimate aspiration, you can just capture it, just paint it in the very introduction before you get to to the end of it. So you don't just make it abstract until you finally arrive at the conclusion. You can bring it at the start. And also you want to make it in line with what the UK is in your country. So you want to mention that explicitly, that this is in line. Okay, you might bring 1 or 2 projects. Okay, this tackles this particular aspect of this project that the UK FCDO is currently doing in Nigeria, for instance. Could be anywhere. China, it could be anywhere. I think that's just what I have to contribute to the study in the UK and the career plan. Demonstrate research in study in the UK. In summary, in the career plan, it has to be very smart and try to sell it. Don't make room for too many, spaces or whatever. Just don't make it empty. Don't bring in, surprises. Just make sure it's like clear from the very start. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Farouk. I think you guys have done justice to that. There's nothing else to add to that. So on the final note, I want you guys to, share some insights on the interview stage. What is the interview stage all about? Lawrence, can you, in a summary, shed light on what the interview stage is all about?
All right.
Yes.
That's an optimistic question. And I'm glad to talk about it at this stage. The interview section is basically Chevening getting to meet you in person, and for you to show that first, these essays or the entire application was written by you, and that to express and see your passion in person, what you're pursuing. Basically, it's from what I've gathered so far, it could last for as short as 5 to 10 minutes to as long as 40, 45 minutes for some people, from what I have gathered around. So it's just a process where you meet, dialogue with people. For my own, I like to use my experience to explain my points better. I had like 3 people in my panel, and one happened to be the Deputy High Commissioner in my country, and there was a staff of the Immigration and Visa Office also, and then one of the Chevening program staff officers also. They happened in Lagos, and then basically I was asked they started with getting to understand my 4 essays in person. Now you have to tell them what you wrote as responses to the 4 essays. And your ability to demonstrate that, you have limited time though, but I believe that what stood out for me and a whole lot of others, it's your ability to demonstrate that passion, and then to go into details within short time and with precision as well. So you have to go with this art, tradition, and precision in demonstrating the passion you have for each of those, your answers you presented or responses to your 4 essays. And then after that, of course, I had a pocket of questions also. I'm trying to remember. You'll be given a room to ask if you any questions to the panel. Well, if you don't have anything, there's nothing wrong with you telling them no. But it's good to, I like to tell people to look, I mean, if you ask questions, all right, it means, for me, one way to, the first step in creating or causing a positive change starts with you asking the status quo, asking and making questions to change the status quo. So it's good you go prepared to show them that it could be about anything, ranging from the scholarship application process to things you want to do with the UK government later, to show some sense of optimism with them. I asked a few questions regarding what they were doing already in the country and the sustainability of some of the projects. Unfortunately, the people in my panel had no idea on some of the projects they were doing because they were working in different departments. So it gave me an opportunity to tell them how much I knew on what they were doing already in the country and to identify certain loopholes I saw and how I was planning on coming in to add or make a difference to them. So basically, the interview stage is where I would say you passionately express your essays and your entire application to a panel, and then you show them that you are the right candidate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lawrence. I think you've done justice to that, and we're running out of time. I don't want us to spend extra minutes past 1:30 or 12:30 or 6:30 over there. So in summary, I want to appreciate you all for being on this call. You guys have really done justice to a lot of questions we have on concerning Chevening scholarship, and I look forward, to getting to network with you guys in the nearest future. Keep in touch, and I appreciate everyone who is on this call and everyone joining us online. Thank you guys for joining us and staying with us to the end. I hope you've gotten some insight, and you can kickstart your application with confidence. Don't allow the essays, a lot of essays you're going to write, get you overwhelmed, because definitely those are what you need to do. That's why you need to start early, as the scholars have said. Start early so that you don't get overwhelmed towards the end. So once again, I appreciate everyone on the call, and for our viewers, if you have not subscribed to the channel, that's the only way you can support this good work we are doing here, so we can keep on, bringing more scholars to this kind of event. There are a lot of other scholarships coming up. So yeah. So thank you again, once again, Mr. Lawrence, Omar, Farouk. I really appreciate your time on this call. Thank you so much. And with that, we come to the end of today's meeting. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.